Hello and welcome to The Flash in a Flash. I'm Erik Smith reporting for Fangirl Magazine. Who is Harrison Wells is not just the question of the hour, but the title of tonight's episode, and it's a pretty good episode. Right off the bat, we get a nice nod to Green Lantern. Barry Allen runs to Coast City to pick up some pizza, and right there we have a nice clear shot of a sign for Ferris Airlines, which of course is the company that Hal Jordan worked for before he became Green Lantern. So there's a nice little nod to the comic book fans. Now Barry's picking up this pizza for the first meeting of the Harrison Wells is a Bad Guy Club. The members of that club are Eddie Thawne, Joe West, Barry, Cisco, and Caitlin. And Caitlin is the weak link here. She does not want to believe the things she's hearing about Harrison Wells. He's been a very important figure in her life for many years now, and she just can't wrap her mind around the things that she's hearing. So very early in this meeting, she takes off. She needs some time alone to think things through. Now, the rest of the guys are trying to formulate a plan, and part of that plan is that Cisco and Joe are going to go to Starling City to investigate the site of the accident that killed Harrison Wells' wife 15 years ago. So we get another crossover with Arrow, and Cisco and Joe work with Police Captain Lance, and they meet his daughter Laurel Lance, who is the Black Canary. And she pulls Cisco aside, reveals that she's aware of all the secret identity stuff. She's in the club, and this is a different club. This is the Secret Identity Club, not the Harrison Wells is a Bad Guy Club. A couple clubs going on here, I guess. Anyway, after Cisco geeks out a bit because he got to meet he's meeting Black Canary, she asks him if he will make some modifications to her sonic device. Now, I don't watch Arrow, so I don't know how the character of Black Canary is portrayed on that show. I don't know how her device works. By the end of the episode, Cisco has made modifications, amped up its power, turned it into a choker, and tells her she should call it her Canary's Cry, which again, nice little nod to the comic books. But aside from that, while Cisco and Joe are in Starling City, they go out to the accident site and they find a body. And after doing some DNA tests, they prove that it is Harrison Wells. He died 15 years ago. They're able to take this back to Caitlin, convince her. Now she's fully on board. But all that's going on in Starling City. Back in Central City, we've got the villain of the week, who is Hannibal Bates, also known as Everyman. And this week, Caitlin gets to give out the nickname, which is good for her. Usually it's Cisco, so it's nice to see someone else getting to play in that sandbox. Everyman is a shapeshifter. He's been committing crimes, basically framing people for them. And in this, now, the police are on his trail, and he frames Eddie Thawne for murder. So, of course, they have to prove Eddie didn't do it and catch the guy. Now, I've been kind of cold on Eddie Thawne from the beginning, but he's starting to grow on me. And it was nice to see him get more screen time, develop the character a little more in this episode. And there was one bit that really kind of did it for me, put me on his side. And that's after he's been arrested for murder. He's in an interrogation room, and Barry breaks him out. You know, of course, using his flash powers, gets him outside the building, tells him he should go underground, go into hiding until they can prove he didn't commit the murder. And Eddie says, no, I'm going to stay here. I'm going to do things right. I'm going to stay in the system, and we're going to prove that I'm not a murderer without me going on the run. And that was a nice little character bit that I really enjoyed. So I'm not so cold on Eddie anymore. And the whole Eddie-Iris relationship trouble thing seems to be done. I don't need to go into that because I just wasn't a fan of that whole thing. One of the things I really like about this show is how well it balances the villain of the week with the overarching Reverse Flash story. And this is a good example. We've got a lot of stuff going on, but it doesn't feel overwhelming. Nothing seems to be taking a back seat. We've got a really interesting villain of the week. But we're also advancing the season-long storyline. And, at the end of the episode, wow. Barry, Caitlin, and Cisco find the secret room in Star Labs, and they find the Reverse Flash costume, and they find the podium, or whatever that thing is, that Harrison Wells, or Eobard Thawne, that he uses, and they see the newspaper from the year 2024 that says Flash missing during crisis, or whatever it says exactly. That's our tag at the end of the show, and wow, it's everything's building up to the season finale, and I think that finale is going to be mind-blowing. Although I'm still waiting for Gorilla Grodd. Come on, I need my psychic talking evil gorilla episode. But I was a little disappointed in last week's episode. This episode brought everything back to the high quality that I'm used to. Not that last week's was bad, just everything else has been so much better. Last week's kind of felt like filler. Now we're back on track with this episode. I'm not sure how many episodes are left this season, but it's really, really ramping up. It's getting crazy. It's getting tense. It's stressful. I can't take it. So that's Who is Harrison Wells. I think I covered all the main points. I hope you folks out there are watching it. Just such a fantastic show. I think one of the best comic book shows that we've ever had on TV. Certainly raises the bar for everything else as far as this goes. So, that's The Flash in a Flash. I'm Erik Smith. Be sure to check out the other videos on Fangirl's YouTube channel. Check out fangirlmagazine.com for all sorts of cool, geeky news and articles and such. And I'll see you next week.